And just to let you know that my name is Biplab and I'm the moderator for this session. And we have Mayur Tendulkar. He's Windows Phone Development MVP, who is going to go through the topic today on again app development. But before we actually go to Mayur and look at his topic, I just want to do a real quick check to make sure that you have audio. So I'm going to put up a poll here just to make sure that you can hear us. So do let us know. In the meantime, I'll just let you know about the MVP program. MVP program is an award for the exceptional technical community leaders. We just recognize them for their contributions to the technical community. And we have somewhere around 4,000 MVPs worldwide. And in India, we have 100 plus MVPs altogether. All right, so I think most of you have the audio, so let me just switch to Mayur's slide. And as you know, as I mentioned, Mayur is our Windows Phone Development MVP, and he's going to talk through building apps for Windows and Windows Phone devices. Mayur, over to you. Mayur, I think you are on mute.
Hello, can you hear me now, Biplab? I just
Absolutely.
wanted to confirm. Okay, thanks a lot. Okay, welcome everyone to this presentation in Virtual Tech Conference on building applications for Windows and Windows Phone. My name is Mayur Tendulkar. I'm a Microsoft MVP for Windows Phone Development, awarded in last year. I work with a company called 7Cs, where I work as a mobile consultant and build applications for all the mobile platforms. I run a user group called as Pune User Group along with my colleagues. So we host different events like developer conferences, tech conferences, and monthly user group meetings. So if you are in Pune, do visit us and attend the events. If you want to know more about me, there is a link about.me/Tendulkar. So let's start with the presentation. So there are two main topics for this presentation. The first one is understanding the platforms, and the second one is developing for the platforms. So let's start with understanding the platforms. So when we talk about Windows and Windows Phone, both the platforms are kind of similar. When we say similar, there are a lot of similarities in between these two. So first, let's say Windows 8.0, and when Windows Phone 7.0 was there, Windows Phone 7 had a different kernel altogether. It was based on Windows CE. But when Microsoft released Windows Phone 8.0, the kernel and core is shared across Windows and Windows Phone. So the best thing is you can write applications in C# and still it will work on all these platforms. You can utilize the .NET framework, base class libraries, and you can create user interface using XAML, that is Extensible Application Markup Language. And in some cases, you can also use Windows runtime components. So what does it mean? It means that you have two different platforms. That is Windows, which is running on tablets, desktops, laptops, even in kiosks. And then you have a different operating system called Windows Phone, which is running on mobile devices. However, they both have the same shared core, and they both have these similar technologies. They share the same technology concepts, because of which you can build one application which can run across these two different platforms, or in some cases you can reuse your code. So here you see the small subset over here. So it actually tells you that most of the components are common over here. There are some components which are not common, like on phone you may find, let's say, GPS, or let's say Bluetooth or something like that, which is not there maybe on desktop. So you may require some third-party components to use, right? So This is how Windows and phone are separated, but yet they have a lot of similarities. Now let's focus more about what similarities we have. So this is one application that I want to showcase, which is Cocktail Flow, which is available for free on both Windows Store and Windows Phone stores. Similarly, if you are a foodie like me, you will like applications like Zomato, which allows you to rate different food joints nearby you. And if suppose you are visiting any city, you can find what is the best place to hang out and eat the local food. So here, if you see these two different platforms, that is Windows and Windows Phone, share the same design language. Previously, it was called as Metro. Now it is called as a modern language or design language. So you will see that all the 5 design principles that we talk about when we talk about building applications for Windows and Windows Phone are same over here. You need to have fast and fluid application design. You need to have content over Chrome. You need to have animations going around. So all this stuff. So whenever you are building applications for Windows and Windows Phone, you have this common design language and you can share it across these two different platforms. Apart from this, there are also controls which allows you to build applications on these platforms, and then there are a lot of common controls like buttons. There are text boxes, text blocks, image control, map control, and there are like hundreds of controls which are there. Even third-party controls are there which you can use across these different platforms. However, there are some controls which are unique. Now, if you see a Windows tablet or a Windows desktop or a laptop, it is horizontal in size or in shape, and you can swipe around it, and you can see a large screen at any point of time. However, when it comes to Windows Phone, it is like a vertical shape, and it has just one screen that you can see. So you have a very limited area which you can show to the user. So we have something called as a panorama control in Windows Phone, and we have something like a grid view in Windows. So both of these control you can use to show data to the end user. So there are different controls available which are unique to Windows and Windows Phone platforms, and there are some controls which are available across these two platforms. I want to highlight two controls, signature controls, which are available on Windows Phone. One is pivot control and one is panorama control, which are not there on Windows. But similar functionality you can provide on Windows 8 applications as well, desktop or tablet applications as well, using some third-party controls. Okay, so now we have seen that we have different controls. We have similar controls as well. We have common design language. Similarly, both Windows and Windows Phone share a similar concept called as app bars. So you will see that in Windows 8 applications, that is modern applications or Windows Store applications, there is no menu bar as such. You will not find file, edit, or other different menu items, help kind of menu items over there. Similarly, you will not find such kind of menu on Windows Phone devices. But you have something called as an app bar, which comes on and off depending on the swipe that you perform. So when you see Windows Phone, you have an app bar at the bottom, so you can by default some application utilize this application bar, or you can swipe up and you will see the application bar at the bottom. Similarly, on Windows 8 you have top app bar and bottom app bar, so you can utilize it. So app bars are basically used to provide menu kind of navigation context, or if you want a user to perform some particular actions. Menu items or actions that you can put on the application bar are called as a command items, and you have some limitations. So in case of Windows Phone, you can have maximum four command buttons over there, action buttons over there, but there's not such limitations on Windows 8. But you can see that there is a concept of app bar which is available across these two different platforms. Now, one major difference that we have in Windows and Windows Phone is back button. In Windows 8 applications, you have a back button on the screen itself. So when you build an application, you have, if you go from one page to another page and you are using the default basic page template, you can automatically go back by you get a button on which if you click, you can automatically go back. So there is a navigation that is handled by these back buttons. However, in case of Windows Phone, this back button is a hardware key, which is on the chassis, which is on the device itself. You can program this back button. You can also program the back button on Windows 8 store applications as well. But this is the difference that you need to understand. So let me revise it again. In case of Windows 8, the back button is within the application itself. It is on the screen. Whereas in case of Windows Phone, the back button is a hardware button available on a device chassis. So these are the similarities. And there is one vital difference that we want to understand when building application for these platforms. So when we talk about Windows Phone has 3 different resolutions, and it is in a vertical shape. So it has 800 by 480, 1280 by 768, I believe that is half HD, and 1280 by 1024, which is full HD resolution. When it comes to Windows, it can come from 1024 by 768 to maybe 3200 by 1800, or there are more than, so there are some devices which has more resolution than this. So whenever you are building application, you need to make sure that you are taking care of these resolutions and you are building adaptive user interface. When I say adaptive, that means if suppose my application is running on 4-inch display which has 800 by 480 resolution, that is a phone, it should just show the most important data on the screen. But if suppose my application is running on 3200 by 1800 resolution screen, it will show almost all the details which are there. Okay, so because I have a use screen, I can show most of the items or most of the stuff on the screen. So you utilize the screen resources properly. So you need to think about it. Now, let's talk about the second part. So we have seen that there are a lot of similarities between Windows and Windows Phone. However, there are some differences, and when it comes to building applications for these 2 platforms, let's see how we can build these applications. So when I create a Windows 8 application, so before going ahead, let me just explain how Windows 8 and Windows Phone applications are different. When I create a Windows Phone application, it gives me a ZAP file, which is a kind of a zip file, which I can put it on the store, or if suppose I have a developer device unlocked, I can put it on the device and I can test it. However, when I build a Windows 8 application, it gives me an Apex, which I can put it on the store, or if suppose I have a Windows 8 machine, I can install it on it and I can test it over there. So these 2 are different project items altogether, different project outputs altogether. Now you want to share code between these 2 different applications, these 2 different projects. So what are the options that we have? So one option is using portable class libraries. So portable class libraries allow you to build, a library which can be used across different platforms. Let's say you want to build a mathematical application for Windows, for phone, for let's say Silverlight, for Xbox or something like that. In that case, there is a functionality like addition, there is a functionality like subtraction, which is going to be available across all these different platforms, right? So in that case, what you can do is you can get this functionality and put it inside a portable class library. User interface for all these platforms will be different, but the addition functionality will be there in the portable class library. So you can reuse that code across all these different projects, right? So what actually happens is when you create a portable class library, it creates a profile for you, and it creates a library which refers the subset of all the platforms that you have selected. So here I have selected .NET Framework 4.5, Silverlight 5, Windows Phone 8, and Windows Store application. So when I say OK, what it will do is it will create a profile and it will create a library for me and refer the APIs, base class library APIs, which are subset to all these different platforms, least common denominator. So like system.io, which should be available. Let's assume. So system.io will be available across all these different different platforms, so I can use it. But if suppose I say Bluetooth, there is a chance that Silverlight may not have Bluetooth support. So in that case, Bluetooth APIs will be skipped. So depending on the frameworks that you have selected, you see different options or different references in your project. So using portable class libraries, you can have one source, you have one project and one binary, which you can reuse across multiple platforms. I will show you how to do it in a while. The other option is using linked files. So linked files are basically not new. It is there in since Visual Studio 2010, I believe. So what you can do is in Visual Studio, you can right click your project and say add existing item. And here, rather than creating a new class, you can select a file from another project. Let's say you are building application for Windows and you already have application for Windows Phone, and there you have add functionality already defined. So what you can do is you can say in Windows project, you can say right click, add existing item, select the item from phone project and say add as link. So in that case, what will happen? The file is added to your project as a link. So let me quickly show you how it works. So here you will see that files are added to your project as links, and it is not an actual file. So it is, you can say, just like a reference. So you are basically maintaining a single version of a file or a code base. You are maintaining a single version of editing. So if suppose you may make some editing in any of the files, let's say on phone, it automatically reflects in Windows as well. Okay, so that's the beauty that it provides when you use file linking. The last option that you have when you are building applications for both and you want to share the same code base is using compiler directives. So when you create a new project, if you are building a Windows 8 application, then you can say that in this particular portion within the if and if is for Windows, and if suppose in the same code file you can say that this particular portion is for Windows Phone. So the code within the if and end if will execute only if the particular platform is there. So within one file, I have, let's say, message box, which is messagebox.show, which is there in Windows Phone. I can have it, let's say, if Windows underscore phone messagebox.show some string end if. So this line will execute if my application is running on Windows Phone. Okay. Otherwise, I can say if netfx core windows.ui.popup. Let's say pass on dot message dialog, pass on some string and dot show and end if. So this particular line will execute only if I have a Windows my application running on Windows 8 machine. So this is how you can have compiler directive as well. So now enough of this talk, and let's go ahead and build application. So I will quickly start a Visual Studio and I will share my screen. Somebody can confirm if they can see my screen. Biplab, are you there?
Yes, I can see the screen. It's
okay.
I think it's loading something.
Yes.
Yeah, visible.
Okay. So let's say I want to create an application for different platforms. So I will just say file, new project. And what I want to do is I want to have a single repository for my projects for both Windows and Windows Phone. So rather than going ahead and creating a Windows Store application directly, what I will do is I will create a Visual Studio solution called as a blank solution, and I will give it a name as single core or something like that. Okay. So now we have this blank solution, and what we want to do is we want to have an application for both Windows Phone and Windows 8. So I will right click this blank solution and I will add a new project. And let's say it is going to be a Windows Phone application. So I will say I want to create a Windows Phone application and it is going to be a single core dot phone. So this is one application that we have for phone. Similarly, I will create another application. Right click, add new project. Let's go to Windows Store and create a blank application called as single core dot store. Make sure that you are not using Windows or Windows.phone kind of namespaces in your project title, because when you are writing code, it may be ambiguous. It may create ambiguity in namespaces which are there already in the base class library. So we have these two different projects over here. So you will see that both the applications have XAML as a UI element. So we can create our design in XAML. Now, what I want to do is I want to have my business logic accessible to both of these platforms. So what I will do is I will right click and say add new project. And rather than creating a normal library, which will be accessible only for Windows or only for Windows Phone. So here you will see Windows Store. I can create a class library, which is for only Windows Store applications. Or I can create a Windows runtime component. Or even in Windows Phone, I can go ahead and say that I want to create a Windows Phone class library, which will run only on Windows Phone. So I don't want to do that. Rather, what I will do is I will go to Windows Store. I will select a portable class library, and I will say that single core dot logic or business logic or BAL or data access library or whatever name that you suggest. So we have this portable class library. So when you select this option, the portable class library option in project templates, it asks you what particular platforms that you want to target. So I can target .NET Compact Framework 4.5 or higher, or specific, let's say 4 or 4.3 or something like that. I can target Windows Store applications 8 or 8.1. I can target Silverlight 5. I can target Windows Phone 8. If suppose you have Xbox 360 SDK installed, you will see Xbox 360. If you have Xamarin installed, you will see Xamarin.iOS, Xamarin.Android as well. But here we want to target only Windows Phone and Windows Store. So these two are selected, and .NET Compact Framework is available across these two. So .NET Framework is and base class libraries are available across these two platforms. So I have selected this. Remember one thing: as you keep adding different platforms, the available base class library APIs reduce, because it always try to get the least common denominator, or it tries to make sure that all the APIs which are available across all the different platforms are only available. So like I said, Bluetooth, which may not be available on desktop, if you try to include in portable class library, you won't be able to use it. So let's have this as it is as a default and say OK. So here, just for the sake of demo, I will just rename it to maths. So we have this maths library, and I will have a function. Let me quickly increase the font size. Public int add numbers, which takes number 1 and number 2, and I can return number 1 plus number 2. So this is one way to do it. Okay, so you have one portable class library with the code over here. So now I can go to my phone application, right click, and say add a reference to the existing solution item, that is, let's say, logic. Okay. Similarly, we can right click on store, add a reference to logic. So we have shared the similar library over here. So let's say in main page, I will have a button, and when I click on it, I want to create object of this maths library. Let's say single core dot logic dot maths dot, okay, let's say var obj is equals. So I will just increase the font size, just a minute. I forgot to make it public. Okay, it is a public class. Okay. Okay, the class is maths. Okay. I just need to say new. And then I can say obj dot add numbers, let's say 5, 5. And I should be able to easily run this code. Similar code I can write in my Windows 8 application. So I can just drag and drop a button. And when I click on it, I'm going to do the same thing. So what I will do is I will just copy paste this code. So what I want to highlight over here is you can have the same code which you have in portable class library. You can share it with phone and store applications. So this is one way, but there is another way. So what we can do is, let's say this is just a simple addition functionality, right? And I don't want to create another library as such for this. So what I can do is, in the phone application itself, I can add a new class. Let's say the class name is algebra. And in this class, I will have, let me make it public for this demo. Public int add int num1, int num2, and which just returns num1 plus num2, right? Now I want to use the same code, and I don't want to have the dependency on the different library. So what I can do is I will right click and I will say add existing item. Let's say I will go to the phone application. I will select where I added algebra. That is in phone, right? Yes, here it is. And here I will select add as link. So you will see that it will add this algebra as a link. So on this main page, in the same button click event, what I can do is I can create an object of algebra class, and I can say add numbers, let's say 5, 2. So this is one way to do it. So this is how you can share your code across two different projects using shared class, using portable class libraries, or using the file linking option. So this is a small demo, but now let's see. Let's say if suppose you have you are building a huge application, let's say enterprise-grade application, and you want to share your code. So I want to quickly show you one application that I built. So I'm building this since morning, so it is not as per the standards as such, but yes, you can refer it. So I have this data access layer. So in this, I have this data client which uses a singleton pattern, and it has the HTTP client libraries, which I have referenced. So HTTP client is basically a portable class library which is available as a NuGet package. So you can add NuGet packages to your portable class library as well. So I have this instance that I am returning every time user asks for the HTTP client, and I have this endpoint defined. So what I have done is I have found a nice service called as random user. So I will quickly show you. So this is one random user generator service. So if suppose in your application you want to have you want to show some people list or something like that. So in this case, you can use this kind of service which randomly generates users, fake profiles. You can click on view full profile and you will see that, okay, it has a name, gender, email ID, for photo URL, and you can use it in your application. So what I have done is I have just added a reference over here as a endpoint, and this is my library, which data access library, which just has endpoint definition and a client in it, HTTP client object in it. Now I have a models library, which is again a portable class library, which has a class called as user repository. So what it does, it basically creates object or gets the object from the data client, that is the same HTTP instance that it gets, and it calls getString async method on the endpoint. So what it does, it hits that endpoint and gets the user string, user details. So just want to show you that you can say API dot randomuser.me, and it will return all the data in a JSON format. Okay, so I can't increase the font size, but you will be able to see that, okay, it is JSON. So here I am getting this JSON and I am just converting it into a result. I'm just getting into a result and I am converting it into different objects. So I have this location object which tells the location of the or address of the user, name which tells the name of the user. Then I have this user details which has all the details of the particular user, right? So basically, I want to show you one more tool that you can use. So when you have a JSON and you want to convert classes or you want to create classes from that JSON. So I have this nice tool that I always use called as JSON C# generator. So what you can do is just provide the JSON string over here and say generate, and it will generate the classes for you, and just use those classes in your project. So now coming back to the topic, so I have this string, JSON string. I'm getting it over here and I'm just converting it into user object and sending it back. It is a asynchronous operation. So we have these two libraries ready, one for data access and one as a models. So now what we want to do is we want to use this in a phone and a store application. Now the best thing is if you want to reuse your code across these different platforms, Windows Phone or Windows Store applications, or for that matter Silverlight or WPF applications, use XAML as a presentation framework. So you use XAML to create user interfaces, and whenever there is a XAML, you can go ahead and use a pattern called as MVVM, model view model. So what I have done is I have added a reference to Galasoft MVVM Lite over here. So you will see that this MVVM pattern is here that I have added. So what you need to do is you just need to right click your project and say manage NuGet packages and just search for MVVM Lite. And you just need to add reference to this. It will automatically add all the dependencies which are required. Similar stuff I have done on Windows Store application as well. So if you see in the references, I have the Galasoft reference added. Now, both the applications are using MVVM pattern. Now, what I can share between these two applications is I can share my models, which I have already defined in models. I can share view models as well. I haven't shared it as of now, but I will show you how you can do it. And you can also share resources. You can also share icons and imageries. So let's say I created a view model called as home view model. So what it does let me quickly increase the font size. It creates a private object called as user info. Then it creates a property called as user information. So what it does it just gets and sets the property, the user details, and if suppose value is changed, it raises the user information property change notification. There is an execute command. So this is basically a command pattern. So in MVVM, if you want to bind a command to a, let's say, page load event or a tap event or a click event, something like that, you create a command object, relay command object, and you assign to it, you bind to it. And then I have this home view model constructor where I have just said that execute command is going to create a new relay command and execute details command. So here I am just creating object of user repository, and I'm just calling the get user function. So now similar stuff I can do in Windows 8 application as well, and you will see that here I have added a file as a link. Just to make sure that I'm doing it right, I will remove it again, and I will add this existing item. Let's go to phone view model, select this file and say add as link. So you will see that, okay, it's there. So now let me quickly build this Windows Phone application. Okay, it is already built. Let me build the Windows 8 application as well. I just want to quickly show you how views are also laid out over here. So I have this home view. So when you are using MVVM Lite, what you need to do is, so you first need to bind the view model to your view. So here I have the data context set to home, that is a home view model, and the source is locator. So if you see this in view model locator, we have this home property which actually gets the home view model and passes it back. So basically it is bound to my XAML view. Okay, and when my application launches, it will just show you that, okay, there is this user available. So let me quickly run it on a emulator. So it will run on an emulator, and when the page loads, it should show you a username from that particular site. It is going to take a while, and I hope it should work. Yes, it is working. Let me quickly increase the, so you will see that, okay. Now I am going to call this service again, so probably the same name you won't be able to see in Windows 8 application. So let me just open the Windows 8 application and run it inside a box. I hope it will show the, yes. So I should be able to change the resolution. Okay, so I can't show you the exact name, but I believe it's the same. No, it's a different name, but you can see that the same code you can reuse across these two different platforms. Similar binding I have done in Windows 8 as well. So if I go to the XAML over here, you will see that here, let me increase the font size once again. The data context I set to this, and the text block over here is set to user information name. Similar over here in phone, text block is set to username, right? So this is how you can perform, you can build applications for both Windows and Windows Phone with maximum code reuse. Now quickly, let's quickly go to the presentation. So I haven't shown you compiler directives, but you can go ahead and write your if and if statements in your file, and you can start sharing the code between these two different platforms. But I kind of doesn't like having if then statements or compiler statements in a code file. So there are so we have seen that you can you have two different ways to share code between Windows and Windows Phone applications. And what are these? Basically, you can share an assembly using a portable class library, or you can share a code using linked files. So the advantages is code remains clean and single purpose. You can build, test, compile one portable class library, and you can reuse across different platforms. However, it has limited API access. So as I mentioned, it is like a least common denominator, which is available across all the different platforms. So as you select now more number of platforms, you have less number of APIs, because when you create a portable class library, it gives you common set of APIs which are available across all the different platforms. You cannot reference non-PCL assemblies. Yes, that is true. So if suppose you create a portable class library and you want to refer, let's say, let's assume that system.web is only available on desktop. You cannot reference it in portable class library. And while making this presentation, what I heard about is you cannot build portable class libraries in Express Edition of Visual Studio. I haven't confirmed this, but if you have Express Edition, go ahead and try it out and do let me know. If you go ahead with linking files, you can have full API access on the platform compiling it. So if you are building a Windows Phone application, or if you are building an application and sharing files between both the platforms, what you can do is you can add a if and if statement, and the code between the if and if statements will be compiled for that particular platform. So you have full API access. You can also tweak your source code as per the platform, depending. So if suppose dispatcher, so dispatcher is available in, let's say, Windows 8 application, and for Windows Phone there is a different API. So you can go ahead and tweak it as per the platform that you are building upon. However, code can become complex due to compiler directives. And as I mentioned, I don't usually go ahead with having a lot of if and if statements in the same file. Rather, I will recommend going for a separate assemblies, having separate code files, and sharing them as and when required. If suppose you are building, let's say you have linked files from phone to Windows 8, and if suppose you are going to make any changes in the store application in the same file, probably there are chances that that file is already open in some other application or something like that. Just like, let's say you open a file which is already open somewhere else and it is locked for that particular user. So this can happen. So this is the comparison, and most of the people say that try both, but my personal experience is sharing an assembly, that is PCL, is great. I have built a couple of applications using PCL, and so far I'm really happy with it. So this is my personal experience as such. So that's it from my side. In this presentation, I have used MVVM Lite. You can go ahead and learn more about MVVM Lite, and it can help you a lot to build applications which can run across all the different platforms, which actually targets SAML. So you can use MVVM Lite and Silverlight, WPF, Windows Phone, and Windows 8 applications. To pass JSON data, I have used JSON.NET. So it is also a PCL version. So you can refer JSON.NET in different platforms. So go ahead, try it out. To know more about PCL, there is a link. So you can try that link and know more about the portable class library. Similar talk is delivered by Matt Hedinger in Build 2013 last year. And he has built entire application. I believe it's on Stock Ticker. So you can go ahead and check out his talk and download PPT and source code as well. So I will quickly share the link with you. So let me quickly share my desktop. So if you come over here, This is the talk that I'm talking about. So you can go ahead, download the video, and you can download the source code as well. So that's it from my side. Quickly going back. So if suppose you want to, you can talk to me on Twitter. My handle is @Mayur Tendulkar. My email address is mayur.tendulkar@hotmail.com, and I write frequent blog at mayur.tendulkar.com. So if you have questions, we can take it now. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Mayur. All right, so I'm just looking at some of the questions which are primarily logistical questions. So will the recording be available to view later? Yes, it would be. You can just look for on-demand sessions on events.microsoft.com, same title, and you should be able to find this session. If you have any questions for Mayur, just use the question and answer panel and post your questions. While we are waiting to see if there are any questions, just to let you know that we really value your survey and your feedback for any topics or any session, and same applies to the Virtual Tech Conference. So we do have automated survey emails which would be sent out to you. We request all of you to participate in the survey and give us a feedback. That would help us to plan future sessions, not only in terms of topics and the content, but also in terms of the time and any other feedback which you may have, which might help us to improve the participation and effectiveness of Virtual Tech Conference. Okay, Ruth is asking how long would it be for the recording to be available from an on-demand webcast. Mostly it would be available by tomorrow, so you might want to check that tomorrow. Just go for advanced search on events.microsoft.com and look for on-demand section, and you can search with the same title. You have the event title with you in the email. Otherwise, you can just look for dev track, and you should be able to figure that out. All right, I think there are no other questions. All right, just to let you know that the slide deck which Mayur had just used, if you want to download that, there is a print option in the bottom of live meeting, in the bottom bar. So you can just use that print option and print this slide deck in a PDF format. All right, I think there are no other questions. So thanks a lot, everyone, for joining the session, and thanks a lot, Mayur, for delivering this wonderful topic.
Thank you.
Just for the attendees, keep in mind that there are two more sessions which are happening. One is going to start at 5 o'clock. So in the developer track, we have app-to-app communication in Windows Phone, and in IT Pro, we have Exchange 2013. So if you want to attend that, if you have already registered, that's fine. You can just go to your registration page, or you can directly go through this link and join the session. We are looking forward to see you in the next session. Thanks a lot, and have a wonderful day ahead. Thanks, Mayur.
Thank you.